Yo, so guys, welcome back to another video. This is another Lost in the Pond reaction. As per usual, I don't know what it is about this channel. Maybe it's just sort of the comparisons and his sort of humour mixed together. I don't really know. I just find these videos really interesting. I never thought a few months ago I'd be reacting to videos to do with like British and American comparisons when it comes to like refrigerators. But yeah, here it is. And yeah, I mean, let's just see what this video is about. Again, I just love seeing these sorts of videos. It's just kind of interesting to see the differences between things that, if I'm honest, I never thought there would be differences in things like, say, toilets, you see in the suggested here, or refrigerators. It's just like it's just a weird sort of concept that there are sort of differences. But you know what? We're going to see, maybe it's going to be things like ice. I feel like in America, a lot of the refrigerators like have ice sort of dispensers or whatever it's called, as opposed to the UK. You can get them, but they cost a shit ton. And yeah, a lot of people don't have them. But I don't know. It's just, we're going to see in this video, I guess. But hopefully going to enjoy. Again, shout out to Lost in the Pond. Links in the description. Oh, what the fuck? Links in the description to his channel for those interested. Links all there. And I mean, yeah, quick shout out to my Instagram and my Twitter. Links in the description for those. Same for my Patreon. Links all there. But yeah, let's just get into this one. Let's see what Lawrence has to say.
Hello, I'm Lawrence, and I'm on a quest to uncover all of the memos that Britain and America lost in the pond, and one of those memos pertains to kitchen appliances. And you may remember 47 years ago, in the winter of last year, I did a video titled 5 Ways That British and American Kitchens Are Very Different.
47 years ago, last year.
And to this day, that video remains one of the greatest videos in the history of YouTube. And those aren't my words. Those are my mum's words. But despite this, there was one crucial element that was frozen out of the video: refrigerators. And so consider this video an addendum to that video. But of course, I'm in my studio. We can't very well have a hands-on video about refrigerators because I don't have one in here yet. So team, let's put everything down and follow me. Yeah, I've been in the studio for about 2 weeks, so it's good to get out of there and do sort of more relatable content, you know, while I walk to the other wing of my house. And 3 hours later, I've made it to the kitchen. On my left is the refrigerator. Please ignore the picture of the red London bus. I'm a bit lazy and haven't put it up yet. I'm not going to show you the rest of the kitchen right now because the camera lies and you might get the impression that we haven't done dishes because we haven't done dishes. But in the immortal words of Sir Winston Churchill, let's look at the fridge. And I know what you're thinking. He never said that, but in our defense...
Already what I'm seeing is that maybe he's going to be talking about what's in the fridge, actually, because I'm seeing the fridge already, and the freezer does look quite small. Unless it's the fridge on top. Wait, is it the fridge? In the UK, fridges are on top. Are they? I don't even know. I'm assuming that's the freezer, because the freezer is usually smaller than the fridge.
We were working on 2 scripts at the same time, and they merged. This is the fridge, a good old American fridge, or should I say, a freezer on top of a fridge. It is a mess inside.
Wait,
I just want to...
Yeah, because when it's a smaller, when it's like the fridge is bigger and the freezer is smaller, the smaller one's obviously always on the top, and the smaller one is always going to be the freezer. But if they're the same size, I think it's usually the fridge on top, right?
I'll show you something that's inside my freezer that you won't find in most British freezers. So it's a special ice making machine.
Well, there we go. And also another thing I've noticed, actually, what I've seen in fridges in the UK, you don't have these bits. You just have slots to put stuff in the freezer. You don't have like this bit here where you can sort of slot little things. It's just this main bit here. I'm pretty sure from what I've seen in freezers here, but again, maybe it varies from ones that I've seen. But yeah, an ice making machine. We just have sort of ice boxes or whatever you want to call it. You put water in them and it just makes ice. This is cooler though, I'm not going to lie.
So it's a special ice making machine inside the freezer, and as you can see from this, you can either set it to automatic or not. And let me tell you, this is the first time that my wife and I have been living alone together, and we've had one of these. And when I'm sitting alone in the living room at midnight doing, it doesn't matter what I'm doing, and that thing goes off, it scares the bejesus out of you. It starts making a mechanical sound accompanied by banging, so it's not dissimilar to the sound of thieves. But I have to say, with summer on the horizon, I am excited to use this to make iced tea and to simultaneously avoid all of the angry comments from British people. And if you've been watching this channel now for a while, you'll know that this ice making machine is very much in line with America's obsession with ice cubes. Famously, Britain hasn't really embraced ice cubes like America has, even in hot summer months. So thank goodness they embraced air conditioning. But there's one other reason that American freezers are more likely to be equipped with ice making machines, and it has to do with size. As is a common theme on this channel, Everything is much bigger in the United States, and that includes this refrigerator. Just like the state of Alaska, it's been proven that this thing is 7 times larger than the UK. To be clear, this is just the freezer. There's a whole bigger section down below that's the main fridge. And on a side note, everybody now knows I do my videos in my pyjama bottoms. In Britain, fridges of this height do exist, but like accurate Winston Churchill quotes, they are rare.
See where I actually live, obviously, well, I say obviously, our fridge was pre-built, so we didn't have to buy one. And our fridge freezer is huge. It's like one of those ones that's built into like the cupboard, so it looks like a cupboard, then you open it and it's a fridge. Ours is huge, like it's massive. And it makes me feel like I'm a 5-foot midget, and I am a 5-foot midget, but it makes me feel even smaller. But I don't know, man, I guess, but in saying that, I bought a fridge for my mum, and that was about my size, and I'm like 5'9", but they were like both big size fridges and freezers. From what I'm assuming here, the fridge is going to be massive because the freezer is quite small. And I think he said in the post that he was like 6'1" on his Twitter. So that must make the fridge at least like 5'9", 5'10", maybe a bit smaller. But yeah, the fridge is going to be massive. We're going to see that now.
In fact, my experience growing up, and that of many other British people, is that the fridge is so low down that it fits under the kitchen counter. This might be accompanied by a frankly tiny freezer, in which you have room for a bag of frozen chips, a box of haddock, and some chalk ices, but then what more do you need? And I know what you're thinking, ooh, Lawrence, why the disparity in size? And it's because the pandemic has been unkind to my waistline. Oops, I've just remembered we're still talking about fridges. Well, there's a few reasons for this. Firstly, Americans tend to buy in bulk more than British people do. In fact, when I was speaking kind to my waistline... Oops, I've just remembered we're still talking about fridges. Well, there's a few reasons for this. Firstly, Americans tend to buy in bulk more than British people do. In fact, when I first moved here, I was stunned to find that people routinely brought home 25 bags of shopping.
I go to like sort of, I don't know what you call them in the US, like sort of small stores where you can just sort of get bits. I go every day kind of thing. I never go for big shopping. I never go for big shops. Firstly, because I don't drive and it's just a lot easier when you drive. But secondly, I don't know, I just think it's easier. You can just sort of buy what you want on that day. And it works for me. But I guess if I had a car, I would buy in bigger bulks. I know when I was younger, my family used to buy in big bulks. I guess it just depends what sort of, like who you live with, etc. But at the same time, maybe it's just a cultural thing, and like he's explaining, or maybe it's a thing that's changing over like generations. Like before, maybe in the 1960s, 70s, it's been passed on to our parents, but now as it's come to sort of the new generation, people are just going to sort of shops, smaller shops, to just buy every other day, just to buy sort of in smaller bulk kind of thing.
In just their boot trunk. Additionally, it's worth pointing out that Americans are more likely to store things like bread in the freezer, taking up space that Brits are less likely to use in this manner. In Britain, our fridge-freezer combinations are typically smaller because, number one, we buy in smaller quantities, though admittedly on a more frequent basis, and number two, Britain doesn't have freedom. And so at this point, let's head back to the studio so that I can discuss one final but crucial point. I don't know, just put it with the other letters from Churchill's estate. So I want to finish this video by talking to you about 2 words. Deep freezers. We've all seen them. It's those freezers that you find in the vegetable section of some supermarkets where you open up the lid and the food comes up and down as opposed to in and out. I mean, it can still go in and out, but as opposed to a regular fridge which can't go up and down. Anyway, in the UK, the only time I saw one of these, in addition to the supermarket, was in my shared university campus kitchen. And the most enduring memory I have of that is I once put my jeans in it, and I haven't spoken to my dorm mates since. But in the US, I've noticed that deep freezers, particularly in larger family homes, do often crop up in people's kitchens, in addition to the type of...
Oh, actually, no, my grandparents had one. But other than that, I've never seen one. I've never seen one at someone else's house. It's just the refrigerator type ones. The standing tall ones. If there's a different word, not deep freezers basically. I've only ever seen one at my grandparents, and that's actually weird because I forgot they had that. But yeah, they are very rare here actually, and I only really see them at like shops, like where you get like ice cream and stuff, or your ice lollies or whatever.
Fridge freezer that you just saw, and I suppose it can be hard to imagine why anyone would want to freeze that much food. But not only do Americans buy in bulk more, when there's not a pandemic going on, they have housewarming parties, graduation parties, Thanksgiving. Basically, any excuse to have the whole family around every week. To fridges.
Actually, that fridge is about 5'10". That's quite a big fridge, to be honest.
For this episode, don't forget to follow me on TikTok at @TheLawrenceBrown.
He's got TikTok.
And be sure to subscribe to my channel.
I don't actually use TikTok.
So my videos don't get lost in the pond. An American refrigerator-sized shout out to all of my patrons who make these videos possible.
And again, yeah, shout out to his patrons. A shout out to him again. If you want to check his channel out, please do. Links in the description for his channel because his videos are just fun to watch. And obviously, if you're watching my reaction, it's because of his videos. So yeah, show him some love if you haven't already, but I'm sure you know who he is already. But yeah, edit. Tall refrigerators aren't as rare in Britain as I remember. However, the smaller units like those I grew up with are seemingly almost unheard of in American kitchens. Best part of this is that would be considered a small fridge by some American standards. I guess, yeah, because obviously the freezer department's a lot smaller. Big American fridges shows one of the smallest refrigerators I've ever seen. Deep freezers are really popular in rural areas where you might buy half a cow from the local farmer instead of a pound at a time from the supermarket. They're also used by hunters for storing their cure. Yeah, because you can store food in like freezers for so damn long, can't you? How long can you store like animals? Like, can you literally store animal meat for as long as possible, or is there a point that even when you're freezing it? Oh, the police! When you're freezing it. Shut up! I'm recording, man. Where like you're storing your meat and it just goes off. Like, I guess there is still an amount of time that it can last. Fuck it, you know, I'm gonna search it. How long can you store meat in the freezer? Any food stored exactly 0 Fahrenheit is safe to eat indefinitely, so the USDA recommends tossing uncooked roast steaks and chops after a year in the freezer. And uncooked ground meat after 4 months. You are frozen cooked meat go after 3 months. God damn, so it can last. I guess people can do it for longer as well. That's just sort of the standards. The deep freezer is also where the police look for spouse missing after a week. I like how the freezers look like someone lives there. Jesus. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this one again. I love these sorts of videos. They're a bit different, but people seem to enjoy them. And again, suggest some more things like this you want to see in the future. And until next time, like, subscribe. Peace.